of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
The New York Mets are the worst team money can buy. That is all. Rock and roll, baby. Oh, yeah. You gotta love a rockin' band. You gotta love a rockin' band. You don't have a rockin' band. I do. Oh, yeah. Good morning, people of Earth. I'm your loyal dog, Woof Woof, and all that. It is Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. No big significance there. Just another Wednesday. Today, Reed Messerschmidt, host of the Irrationally Exuberant podcast, is my scheduled guest. You should be joining us about 9:15 this morning. Reed is the host of Irrationally Exuberant podcast, which is it's a pop culture, contemporary, historical fiction podcast. That's the way I'm characterizing it. We'll see how he characterizes it. Anyway, I hope you had a great day and night last night, yesterday, all that. Great weather. Spring has finally kicked in. I'm a little nervous about the great weather, though. It's because the beach gigs for me really start 2 weeks from now. And good weather now usually means one of those or two of those or three of those on Memorial Day weekend are going to get rained out. So I could use a little shitty weather, bad weather. I'm sorry, YouTube. I can't control myself. That wasn't in the first 7 minutes, was it? Yes, it was, unfortunately. Not supposed to curse in the first 7 minutes of the show. That was 3 minutes in. That's how far I can make it. Good news. On Monday, Keith Lowell Jensen will be the guest here. Keith's a very funny guy. He's got a new special coming out, Why You Got Arrested. And looking forward to that. I haven't talked to Keith since probably right around the time the pandemic was starting. He was releasing a special, Not for Rehire, at that point. And listen, if you want to get a primer on how to work completely clean and still be hysterically funny, and have people not even notice that you're working completely clean, Keith is the man. You wanna hear that. So he'll be with me Monday morning. So I'm looking forward to that. What else is going on in the world? Well, all the politics and shit, and I'm trying to stay away from even paying attention to the politics. It seems like they keep pushing it sooner and sooner and sooner on you every election cycle, and I feel like I'm still recovering from 2016 with all the bullshit, and I'm just not ready for the constant. And let's face it, nobody is looking forward to a rematch of Trump and Biden. Nobody is looking for that. if you are, this is for Reed. He's in the background. It looks like your camera is working. It looks like there's no light. I see a tiny little bit of light coming through there. The camera is on. It's just very dark. Listen, I'm very dark, but I have some light, and I have a controller for my light. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the election stuff. I'm just not into it. I mean, I I've obviously have very strong opinions and ideas about it. Um, and totally not on the MAGA train completely at all. I mean, the people are revolting to me. They really are. Every day you hear more and more bullshit and gaslighting. We're being gaslighted as a country, all in one. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, and this is a quote, she wanted to convince Gen Z, I'm sorry, all these generational things, wants to convince Gen Z that all the deaths, this is a quote, well, it was close to a quote as I can remember. She wants Gen Z to believe that all the deaths, fentanyl deaths in America are being caused by too much fentanyl in the country, but all the guns deaths in America are not caused by all the guns in America. So supply is the cause when it's something we don't like. But if you like it, your guns, you want to hold your gun fetish, uh, then supply is not the problem. Listen, just the same as you could say the gun never killed anybody, fentanyl never got up and injected it into into somebody's arm. It's an inconsistent, hypocritical, gaslighting position. Anyway, we are about to get started with Reed Messerschmidt, who is the host of the Irrationally Exuberant podcast. And we'll be with him in just 1 minute. But right now, I want to tell you about Koa Coffee. Get yourself some Koa Coffee. I got some Koa Coffee. It's the best coffee in America and one of the 10 best in the world, according to Forbes magazine. So apparently, Forbes is not on a Make America Great Again thing because our top coffee only comes in the top 10 of the world, which is a Daniel Tosh bit. Why do we always say we're number one? Can't we just be we're top 10? Maybe less people will hate us. Anyway, Koa Coffee. I don't know if Koa Coffee wants to be associated with Daniel Tosh, but hey, they're on my program. What the hell? Koa Coffee. This episode is brought to you by Koa Coffee. If you are a coffee connoisseur and want to experience the best coffee Hawaii has to offer, no blends, no compromise, try the true taste of aloha. Koa Coffee produces premium Hawaiian coffee, hand-picked, expertly roasted, and delivered from Hawaii to your door with aloha. From award-winning 100% Kona coffee grown on the slopes of the Mauna Loa volcano to the unique mocha beans of Maui, they strive to provide their loyal customers with the best quality and freshness. Since 1997, Koa Coffee has been known far and wide as a product of utmost quality, and their awards prove it. Koa Coffee was featured in Forbes' Top 10 Coffees of the World. This is the coffee Forbes called the best coffee in America. Find out what it's all about. Go to minddogtv.com/coffee. See, that's a problem. It's the best coffee in America, but it's only top 10 in the world. Terrible. America, you should be embarrassed. You're letting other countries out coffee you.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Well, cold coffee is your mind's best friend. I just help facilitate the purchase of cold coffee. You can get your cold coffee at minddogtv.com/coffee. Enough about that. Reed Messerschmidt is the host of the Irrationally Exuberant. Man, that's difficult for an old dude just waking up to say over and over again. I think I've said it 10 times in the last week. and it's never. It just doesn't drip off the lips, and plus, I think Reed has a kind of uh, anti-boomerism that he probably doesn't like boomers like me mispronouncing the title of his podcast. He's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Reed Messerschmidt. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Good. I don't boomers.
Oh, you don't? Well, here's the thing. I think that I can understand boomer angst. I have friends and I know people who who definitely have strong boomer angst. Generally, millennials and Gen. I hate all this Gen X.
It's all
People.
terrible.
Yeah. But I think there's two different kinds of boomers. There's the 1945 to 1954 boomers, and the 1955 to 1964 boomers are two different sets of I don't know, kind of characteristics. What do you got going on there? You got bip, 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 bip. Do you hear that?
Should be taken care of. Is it gone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there, it just happened there. When you raise your hand. Raise your hand. No. Oh, there it is.
Seriously?
That's it. Yeah. It sounds like I'm being wrong on Jeopardy or something.
For real. I don't.
Wow.
Anything.
Bandwidth. That's new equipment for you, right? You didn't have that thing, that Shure mic last time I talked
No,
to
this
you.
this is used. It's what Michael Jackson.
Yeah, we're hearing it I guess it's a connection thing, a wire thing, but
what I can do.
Anyway, so whatever. While you're messing with that, I'll just continue that thought that about a lot of people. I think are very angry at the older boomers, but I do think there's a strong divide between the first wave of boomers and the second wave of boomers. We're different people. The pre-rock and roll, people who were born before 1954, or 45 to 54 people. They were born and lived 9 years before rock and roll was invented, and then the 55 to 64 people are different people. Anyway,
I mean, it's all more than a real.
This is weird.
So, like practice. You try
getting every other word. Can you bypass the mic somehow? No.
here. Let me log back in.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Let me. Yeah, I'm gonna put you out for a second. I'll be right back. Yeah. We'll see if we can get the audio thing figured out on his end while I continue a little bit here. Next week we have a really wild week. I want to very full week. As I mentioned, Keith Lowell Jensen will be here Monday morning. Dr. Otto, who is a physician surgeon turned comedian, will be with me on Tuesday morning. Interesting. This is what's happening in the world now, folks. Everybody wants to be a comedian, and somebody who's been a lifelong surgeon, 30 years in surgery. I'm not sure what his specialty is, what kind of surgery he does, but now changing careers from going from surgery, and you talk about a good paying job to no paying job. And then Dylan P., who is another comedian, will be with me on Wednesday. And then I have another comedian on Wednesday evening on the evening show. Seems like we're getting more comedians now interested in doing the Wednesday evening show. And then on Thursday, 2 in the morning, Rachel Hardy, who's a up and coming comedian, and Killer Keely, who you all know about, is going to make another stab at being on the program. And then on Friday, the 26th, which is the kickoff of Memorial Day weekend, my personal sensei in music, got my very first guitar teacher, who is a very accomplished singer, songwriter, producer, and one of the most incredible guitar players I've ever seen. Rusta Salo will be with me. Reed has left the building. He's getting his audio equipment in shape. I do have some things to talk about with regard to the contributor position. We have so far we have 8 people signed up, and I you know what, that sounds like a lot to be regular contributors to the program, but what that really means is, they're going to brainstorm and produce some spots and be on. Listen, they're not all going to be on all that frequently. It depends on how much energy and time and inspiration they have. But 8 people is not enough. So I'm still reaching out to far more people. I don't want people to think, just because I'm still running the ads, meaning I'm not interested in you. If you contacted me, I will contact you back. But I'm keeping the ads up, and the emails still keep coming. But each phone call, like yesterday, I had several phone calls with people who are interested. Each one takes time, and by the time I get to all the people who responded, I'm sure many of them will have lost interest. On the co-host thing, I didn't talk to a single person who I was supposed to talk to yesterday. I will reach out to them today and start having those conversations. But all this stuff is time. I think Reed's back. We'll see if he's got his. Reed, are you there?
Yes. Do I sound okay now?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, good.
Well, welcome. Let's start this again. How are you? You okay?
Hey, I'm doing okay. Hey, boomers, boo. No, I'm just kidding.
You've become a lawnmower repairman in the recent past, right?
Yes, yesterday I did repair a lawnmower. I'm very proud of myself.
Do you feel manly? Because I've never done that, and I've never felt manly. I just want to know.
It felt like a magic trick, for God's sakes, right? Like my dad, growing up, still now probably, couldn't change the tire. I don't think I ever held. I was telling Kelly the only time I remember seeing him hold a tool of any sort was he ran at me with a wrench one time.
Wow.
He didn't hit me with it. He didn't hit. Yeah.
Yeah. My father was good with tools, but he didn't want me around. He had a really nasty temper and didn't want me around. But he fixed everybody's everything. He was the tool guy for the guy. So we had 2 different types of fathers. Your father, not a mechanic. My father, very mechanical. Mm-hmm. And neither one of us came away with any mechanical skills except you.
Right.
At least you taught yourself to fix the lawnmower. I don't think I could do that.
Well, really. I have my father-in-law is super handy, which is amazing, and much more patient than my own dad ever was. So he has taught me how to do a lot of this stuff, or supervised while I do it anyway. Right. So yeah, I've sort of kind of figured it out. I mean, I own a house, so I gotta do it.
So do I, but I bet you didn't think we were going to be talking about lawn mowing today.
No, but maybe not, but that's okay.
North Dakota.
Yeah.
The property that your house is on, what is it? Is it flat? Is it what?
Oh yeah. It's flat.
And this time of year, grass, I mean, is grown like, because here in Long Island, of course, it's a very tropical kind of environment, and grass grows really fast. It grows wet and thick. What's it like where you are?
I mean, it's dry right now, but it grows real fast, really fast.
And do you push your mower or you drive a mower?
I push.
Yeah. Okay.
I did have a riding mower. We have a fairly big yard. It's like a half acre, which is big for in town.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go to the gym, so I'd rather push a mower for a couple hours than go to the gym.
A week ago Saturday, I did my first mow of the front lawn of this season, and it was the first mow is always the toughest. It's like it goes from being like 3 inches high to a foot high in like a day.
Yeah.
And then it's really wet and thick. And I have like lots of hills where I am. I got through the front yard, but then took me an hour and a half to recover. Literally thought I was going to die. I was laying on the floor just gasping, phlegm shooting everywhere.
Yeah, right.
And then I did the backyard this week, thinking it will be better, and it was worse. And so, yeah, but I think from now that I've gotten the big ones out of the way,
Yeah.
it will be a little better. But
Yeah, the first is always. I mean, we're just coming out of a real bad North Dakota winter. It was a rough one.
really,
I mean,
see how I got happy when you said that? Yes, I got. Oh, you got locked up.
I,
Yeah, you got locked
it
up.
was. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it was a bad winter, a bad one.
that makes me happy.
Okay, well, I'm glad that makes you happy because it gives us depression and alcoholism.
Yeah, well, it would me too, which is why because I just like knowing that somebody had because we didn't have a bad winter, and I always expect a bad winter, and I hate winter. I could never survive North Dakota, not for a day. Not from I'd say probably from September until June, I probably wouldn't make it. All of it, I'd be just
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why I do. I'm dug in. I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere. But I don't like it that much either.
Now you're not in Fargo, right?
No,
That's the only thing I know about North Dakota is Fargo.
no,
No.
I am in Fargo. Yeah.
Oh, you are.
Yep, I'm in Fargo.
I have I want an idea of renaming it. What the Fargo? What do you think?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good. That would be a great tagline.
I think commercially it probably would grow. Robert Klein says North Dakota has 4 people.
Yeah.
And he wants to know why they have 2 senators if they only have 4 people. Do you know what the population of Fargo is?
Well, Fargo is around 160,000 right now, but I mean, really, there's also West Fargo, which is another 40, which is barely distinguishable from like you wouldn't be able to tell one from the other.
And it's all flat, right?
It's all flat, yeah, not a hill here.
That's beautiful,
really. And then we're Moorhead is right across the river, and that's another 40 or 50.
Wow.
So it's getting bigger all the time. So
now, would you know if there's a thriving comedy? Is there comedy clubs, a thriving comedy scene, or would you not even know?
I probably would know less than I used to. But there are open mics.
All right. Okay. No, that's fine. As long as there's something going on.
There's a great music scene.
That's what I want. I want to transition into the music stuff because I know you are. You have eclectic taste in music, but I want to start with the vinyl stuff because you're a vinyl aficionado, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I read an article 3 days ago, maybe longer. I don't know. I'm losing track of time. But that said 90% of people who are buying vinyl today don't have anything to play it on. They're just buying it as a kind of a status symbol. You actually play your vinyl, right?
I heard that too. Yes, I play my vinyl all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Is it? Are you an audiophile? Do you go invest in like the best?
I've really tried not to be. I really don't want to be. Right.
Yeah.
It's sort of inevitable after a while. You want to get to like a place where it sounds good, but I don't want to obsess over it. I want to just enjoy music.
Yeah, and for me, there's a nostalgic part of because when I had vinyl, I never had the best
right.
System.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky to have any system. Sometimes I listen to stereo through one speaker and all that kind of stuff, So yeah, I don't. I'm kind of with you on that. Now, can you really tell a difference? I mean, are your ears trained enough to do a blind taste test, ear test, blindfolded, and say which is vinyl and which is MP3?
I mean, I wouldn't be confident enough to do a blind test, no. But I think it depends on what you're listening to. I think there are things that to my ear sound better on vinyl,
right,
and things where it doesn't matter. I think jazz in general just sounds better. It was made for vinyl. It was cut to vinyl in most cases. Well, cut to tape, I guess, in most cases. But really old stuff was,
Well, some of it was cut to acetate, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. But it just was made with that intention, and it just sounds more in the room, I feel like.
Right. Now, when you buy them, are they all? How do you like quality? Because they got to be scratch. Some of them have to be in pretty bad
Yeah.
shape, right? How do you kind of make that determination? They don't let you play it in the store, do they?
No. No.
W-
I lost you for a second. Are you back?
Yeah,
Are you
we
back?
got locked up for a second. We get these packet drops, I guess. I don't know.
Oh.
It's North Dakota. It's like because there's something blocking us right around the silos. They just like cutting off the satellite feed.
Yeah, that would be something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
So, but no quality can. How do you knowing about?
okay. So I buy mostly, almost exclusively from thrift stores. I love a thrift store. I spend a lot of time in thrift stores. Um, so they're not expensive. I mean, it depends on which one you're in, but in a lot of places, vinyl's $1 or $2.
Wow.
Um, so you just dig until you find the good stuff, and decide in the moment whether something is too scratched. My quality control is pretty high right now because I cracked 2,000 records and I just run out of space.
Wow.
So I need to be a little more
Yeah,
discerning.
that's a problem because like with digital stuff, you can get a million songs and
Yeah,
still not have a storage
right,
problem.
right.
Do you now? Do you have to like temperature control?
No, I
No.
mean maybe. I'm sure there are people out there that would hear me talk about vinyl and be appalled because I'm not very precious about it. But
Yeah.
I don't want to be, right? Like I like stuff. I really like stuff just in general, but I don't I try not, like I try to keep the Buddhist aversion to attachment in mind at all times.
Yeah. No, I get it. So yeah. Um, I'm a big fan of the vinyl comeback though. And do you have any comedy albums on
Yeah,
vinyl?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love comedy on
Like
vinyl.
who?
Bob Newhart, all of them.
Oh wow.
The greatest. He's my favorite. Um,
Jackie was telling me that I thought he said Newhart released a double album, but it was one disc. But you know how records have a groove. It had two grooves in it. So if you put it in one place, it will play the album, play one album. If you put it in the other groove,
oh wow, I don't think I knew about that.
yeah, like a gimmicky thing, I guess the phrase
Huh?
gimmick.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
I've never heard of anything like that before. But
Yeah, those
my
Newhart records are incredible, though.
yeah, my parents were really big on comedy records when I
Yeah.
was growing up, and that was a big thing. Now, you I know your podcast, and you generally. I don't think I've heard you say any profanity ever in the conversations I've had with you. Uh, the records you have, are they all clean, or are you worried about playing them? I know you have small children, so,
Oh yeah, no, I get in trouble all the time
yeah,
for swearing in front of my kids.
you
I
have Red Fox.
I do have Red Fox. I do a couple of them.
Wow.
They're rare to come across, but when I do, I'm always really psyched. Yeah, Mom's Mabley. I've got Shelley Berman. What else do I have? Firesign Theater. I got
Wow.
I got some Marx Brothers. Um, yeah.
Wow, excellent stuff. I love that. Comedy in general. Do you follow stand up comedy? What's going on in the state of
Um, a little bit. Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I do think, and this the idea of cancel culture is probably not. It's not what people think it is. Like when you see somebody like Dave Chappelle or Louis C.K., what you see is basically um, they lose one opportunity, but they get richer and they don't go away. But there is cancel culture for the little man. And I sound like a total Marxist, like the working man comedian. But for people who are not established yet, you do have to, even if you're not getting fired for what you're saying, you do have to write differently. You have to write with caution. And I think that, and this is where I think you may relate to it, because you're a writer and you're a very prolific writer. Writing with caution is the worst thing for an artist to do. To think that I got to approach with my art with handcuffs on. Like, does that ring true to you at all or not?
Okay, so here's how I look at it. I don't write with caution. I don't think you really need to write with caution so much as you need to write with empathy, right? So
Okay.
as long as you're writing with empathy, you can say really whatever you want, because it's coming from the right spot, right? Like, I mean, it's as long as you've thought about what you're saying and you.
That's interesting to me, because I think Dave Chappelle believes he has empathy for trans people.
Yeah,
I
no.
I think he thinks that, because
Uh-huh.
the way he expresses, I forget his the one. I have a trans friend. That's his. I can't be transphobic because I have a trans friend. That's his line, which sounds awfully familiar from a lot of other places. But when he talks about her, it seems he gets emotional about it. It seems like he really believes that he has empathy. So the question that begs is having empathy the same as believing you have it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Well, okay, so I'm glad he has a trans friend. I do think that helps.
I don't think he does anymore. She killed herself.
Did she?
Yes.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. God, this whole issue is so complicated.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's not, but it's just by the world, it's been complicated. But I mean, I do think, having a friend. I mean, this sounds sappy, but having a friend can change your viewpoint on a
Right.
thing. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of these people. I mean, some of the conservatives are just sociopaths, but a lot of them just are so sheltered in a way. I mean, it's like they've been held in a cell their whole life, but they've been told like what a nightmare the outside world is.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they don't have any experience with it. They've just heard scary stories.
Now,
Right.
where did that come from for you? Because I have to, and maybe I am being a little prejudiced here, but I have to believe that North Dakota is not like a melting pot of diversity.
It's gotten more so. I mean, Fargo is a
It
little
is?
bit, much more than it was. I don't think I saw. I knew one black person when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, and I specifically knew who he was. Like
Yeah.
it was Willie. It's Willie.
Yeah. Everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody knows Willie. He's a great guy.
The
Willie.
North Dakota black guy.
Yes, and his name was literally Willie Brown. Like he was the.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Willie was the coolest.
No,
But
I do think you're right. There are, exposure to different people and different lifestyles and diversity is the big thing. And I think a lot of, the Marjorie Taylor Greene people, you try, because my first instinct is just to paint her as stupid and evil. But maybe she just has never been exposed.
oh no, she has.
You think she
She's
has?
had plenty of opportunity. She's out in the world. Like nobody's had
Now.
more now, right?
Yeah.
But she's an opportunist. She's an opportunist, right? Like she doesn't believe. I mean, maybe she does a little bit, but she's making money.
Well, the religion thing has really got her, and a
Yeah.
lot, and the religion, and this is the part that I don't. We are like all over the map here with this conversation, but in our politics right now, the right wingers who are very Christo-centric,
Mhm.
for the most part in their platform, but most of the Trumpers I know are either atheists or just agnostics or church going, Christians in name only. They don't really care about religion. They don't want any part of it. But the platform is pushing this idea of, biblical citizenship tests and all that stuff. It's a big disconnect between the base, what they really want, and what they're hearing, but they still follow the cult, which is so fucking confusing to me. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody told me I'm going to force you into Scientology. That would be a deal breaker to me, or Christianity, or whatever, Judaism. And I'm going to force you to take this belief system.
Yeah,
That's a deal breaker for me. I'm out, but not for the people with the same color hat that you're wearing.
I know this hat's dangerous around here, right?
Yeah. So what's your take on that? The whole willful indoctrination into religious stuff. I mean, that's an overused word, indoctrination, but that dancing over the edge of something you don't believe in just because the cult leaders got you hypnotized.
I don't. I just wish the cult was more fun. That's what I wish.
Yeah,
Like, have a fun cult.
you know,
Like, well, why does it always got to be a bummer cult?
right?
Why does what? Have you ever heard of Unarius?
No.
That's a cult. That's a UFO cult in New Mexico, and they're fun.
Oh, I gotta look them up.
Yeah, they dress up in costumes and act their past lives, and they film it, and they write great books.
I'm
Like
surprised I haven't had one of them on my show. I
it's
really am.
they're aging. Like that cult is aging its way out of
Right.
its members because it's been the same for 50 years. But it's the best. You should look into it anyway.
Yeah.
I think the people leading the cult, the people running the informational wing of the cult, are all opportunists and don't believe anything and are completely amoral. And are just making money. They see an opportunity and they're making money, and that's all that they care about. And
I think that's for the most part. I would say there are a few that I would say are true believers, but for the most part, when you see the politicians, the loudest ones, the ones who were trying to make it into law, I think those people are exactly what you say they are. But
right, and then on the other end of it, I think there is a mental illness problem in this country that we have not fully addressed, and that there are a percentage of people with undiagnosed mental illness in this country is astronomical.
yeah,
And I think a lot of them are being taken advantage of right now.
yeah. Well, and it comes back to empathy too. I hate to be this guy, but I'm going to be this guy. There are. I've had my whole life. I've had no problem separating the person from the art. In other words, I could hate
Yeah.
Bill Cosby, but still go back and listen to his old records and think that there were some gems in the fun there. I'm seeing comedians right now who are so lack of empathy, based is they think of the homeless problem as a inconvenience to them. There are people on the streets. How dare they make my life difficult by being I have to drive around that area right now. I can't walk through that area. It's an inconvenience to me. And so there's no empathy. And you hear people like Tom Segura and Joe Rogan and Bert Kreischer talking in terms of trying to be funny, but also serious about the solution is just to kill them all. And Tom Segura is like, yeah, I like the way you think. Like that there is absolutely no empathy, and I'm having a difficult time finding any of. I never really found Rogan or Kreischer that funny anyway. Tom Segura, I did, but I can't appreciate him. Every time I see him now, all I think is, "You elitist fuck, you cold-hearted bastard." What's you got any response to that?
Yeah, I mean, Tom Segura is so talented. I mean, in terms of delivery,
Yeah,
he's got the most that style, that kind of detached style that he has is so sneaky, and it'll get you. It's funny, but
yeah,
yeah, ideologically, there are really interesting sects in comedy, I think, right now, right? Like very varieties of right wing comedian that
right.
have become popular. And they are the guys that you mentioned are the furthest left of that wing, but I think they are guiding people
Yeah,
towards some of the worse elements.
Jim Brewer is the guy that I like. I look at him and I say, people are actually paying to see this act of a guy
Yes, for
dance
real.
around the stage like a chicken. And like, well,
For real. Seriously.
it's
I
unbelievable.
really thought Jim Brewer was funny when I was 12.
Wow. Yeah.
I
Well,
did. I mean, he was Goat Boy, a real riot when I was 12.
yeah. 12 years old. That's about where he stayed though, and he's still entertaining 12-year-olds, except they're all in like boomer bodies now. It's just very weird to see. And comedy is never, Colin used to say.
Yeah, but now.
What do you say? I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, Colin used to say, it's good to make fun of people, but don't punch down. And I think a lot of comedy is all about punching down. It's like, being mean for mean's sake instead of being mean to the man, taking it to the man. I don't think that's part of it anymore. I think maybe it's because we've there's so many comedians that and so many people in comedy, we've run out of supply of the man. So now let's just punch down. I don't know what it's all about. But.
So I've seen 2 touring biggish comedians this year. Am I echoing on your end too?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I'm echoing in my own ears. I saw. Take the cans off.
You might have a tab open of a secondary tab that echoes back. That happened to me last week.
All right. I saw Whitney Cummings the other week. She was in town.
Wow.
And she is, again, another person that's incredibly talented. And her delivery is just impeccable, and she has the audience the whole time. But all of her jokes at this point are about how she can't say anything.
Right.
It's all about how she isn't allowed to say certain things. But it's like you're on a stage with a microphone in your hand.
Yeah.
Saying those things. So what are we actually talking about here?
Right.
Just how you feel about it, or like how you don't like the negative comments? You don't like any negative reaction to what you're putting out in the world.
Right. That's the thing. You're free to say whatever you want, but you got to be able to take whatever kickback comes with it. I mean, I think we all want to be liked by everybody, and that's not going to happen.
It gets less possible all the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard enough when you only knew 12 people.
Right, yeah.
Right? Like you knew 12 people, and those people were, 8 of them you worked with, and 4 of them were your family.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about your podcast, and I'm going to say it again, the Irrationally Exuberant Podcast. Man, for an old person, that's a tough thing. Too many, and there's only 2 polysyllabic words in there, but they get to me.
There's a lot, yeah.
I've been describing it, and I want to hear you describe it, but here's how I've been describing it, as a contemporary pop culture historical fiction podcast.
Yeah, that's about right.
That is about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I noticed. Have you not published since February?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's getting more and more rare to put out an episode.
Well, because you write a lot. I mean,
I do write a lot.
People don't understand. 12 minutes or 15 minutes of podcast is a lot of words.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a book by now, which is what I wanted to ask you. Does that interest you at all? Doing like?
Yeah, I mean that's. I don't want to leave the podcast behind because I love it, but it does take up. When I focus on it, it takes up so much time that I don't have time to do much of anything else.
Right.
And I do want to write. I do want to do a book, but I think what that is going to ultimately be is kind of like a repurposing of the podcast.
Right.
You
could do that now. You probably just transcribe them all and make one like, short stories or essays from everything you've got.
Right. I want to try to like link it somehow. I think, like some kind of like connecting material. But I've got some ideas I'm kicking around.
Right. Being an essayist and a kind of, I think it's fair to say you're a short story guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is my problem in trying to write long form, like trying to write a book. I think of myself as an essayist and short story guy too. So I will get like a chapter to me feels like finished. That's the book where having those long continuous I would get bored with one novel or one. Are you the same way? I mean, because
Yeah.
it feels like by the time I get to the end of a chapter or a short story, the essay, it's not a book, and I feel like that's it. That's I'm not a long term football field thinker. I'm more of a 10 yards at a time thinker in writing. Is that your issue too? Do you
Yep.
get
Oh yeah.
bored?
So bored. Yeah. So quickly.
Right.
I mean, when I get interested in something, I just go. It's all that thing all the time, and then
Right.
until I've excavated everything that I can get from it,
Right.
and then
Uh,
I move on.
and where because you're as I mentioned with music and stuff, and I'm assuming in film and stuff, you have an eclectic taste. Where do you find those? I don't know, inspirations in. I'm sorry, North Dakota. I don't mean to sound like a New York bigot, but I mean it's a small town, and I don't think you have as many um, contributors to culture out there to have that many different influences and inspirations,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Where does it come from for you? Reading?
Yeah, I mean, I just read a lot, and I try to like expand on reading. Like I take a lot of notes while I read. Things
Really?
to look at later, other places to go. I try to be a purposeful reader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never taken a note while reading something.
I always have. I mean, I have sticky notes all over the place, but they
Really?
just have like 2 words written on them of like things that I should look into later.
So, with professionally now, is this? Are you writing in your profession, or the things that pay the bills?
No.
So,
I have a desk job that is very it takes nothing from me. It takes nothing of me and nothing from me,
wow.
and I love it. I mean, I don't love it. I just love that I have that job that takes that off my plate.
I've never had a job that didn't take my soul.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and every job I've taken has I've taken it with the understanding that it wouldn't take my soul, that it was something that was going to be in the creative arts related to what I was doing, and it would be something I would enjoy doing. And it almost always is for a week. And and then it becomes soul sucking. And congratulations on that, on
I
being
mean, I
able.
really just stumbled into it.
Well, good for you. Now, the reason I was I'm just thinking as the developmental read. Were you thinking about authorship? Did you want to be the Hemingway? Did you want to be a sitcom writer? Did you what did you want in terms of writing or creativity as
I
a
mean,
young person?
that might be the problem is that I'm just not a very ambitious person.
I think that's epidemic and I'm not sure it's a problem. I think ambition. Most of the most ambitious people I know, I don't like as people.
Yeah, well, there's a single-mindedness that you need to have to really be ambitious
Right.
that I don't have. I'm too curious and distractible.
I think that's my problem in a way too, but I have some drive. I just focus is my more of my problem is like staying focused on one thing. I can't,
Hmm.
and I guess that is a single-mindedness in towards the ambition. But like, I'm all over the map. I can't stay, interested in one thing for too long, and that could be a positive in some ways, but it ends up in my life being more of a negative. Um,
I mean, you think of like specialized scientists, like somebody that studies like a certain type of mitochondria for their entire lifetime,
yeah,
and that's
yeah,
so admirable to me.
yeah. It is, but you gotta wonder, like, at the end of your life,
Yeah,
that's all you did with your life,
yeah.
and like, did you ever want to do anything else? And that's where I am. It's like I want to, it's funny because I mentioned Keith Lowell Jensen's going to be here. He's going to be lecturing me about food because he's a vegan, and vegans are Jehovah's of the food world. They come knocking on your door and tell you what you have to be and what you have to do. But in the food world, I am very I don't want to try a variety. I know what I like. I'm going to stick to that to the end of my life. I'm going to eat like the 12-year-old I've always been. But in other areas of my life, I'd want to. I have a very, curious palate. Like I want to try other different experiences. But food is the one place that just shuts down. It's like I'm just going to stick to what I know.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a vegetarian for 15 years. I never made it to vegan.
Were you a Jehovah's vegetarian? I was for 4 years. I was a vegetarian for 4 years.
Yeah. What started you?
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins?
And then when I first read Unlimited Power when it first came out in the 80s, there was a section on meat processing plants, and it turned my stomach so bad that I couldn't even think of meat.
That'll get you. That'll get you. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say Tony Robbins definitely had me under a spell for a couple of years.
Well, I did it for a girl, so I'm worse. I'm worse off.
For 15 years.
Well, it just worked for me. I started with a girl, and then I liked it, so I kept doing it.
Did you ever fall off the wagon? Because I did. I mean, I say I did it for 4 years, but I had a mother who, if I stopped by her house, she'd have a pot of sauce and meatballs on, and that would tempt me. But I did fall off the wagon a couple of times in that 4 years. But did you ever?
No, the only time I cheated was for a while. I was making money. I didn't have a job for a couple of years, so I was making money doing medical experiments. And they make you have to be in their laboratory for a whole week and eat whatever they give you. So I would have to eat meat for those.
Oh yeah, so researchers and stuff like that. I signed up for probably 10 research health related research programs in the last year and never made it to one because
really?
I chickened out. I was supposed to go to one Monday, and they wanted to do an endoscopy on me. I was like, no. No more oscopies, no colonoscopies, no endoscopies, no sidoscopies.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I did one for morphine.
Wow.
So it was just a week of just taking morphine.
Wow.
Which was a very pleasant week. And they're like, well, we got to draw blood once an hour. And I'm like, I don't give a shit what you do. Great. Don't tell me you're there. I won't notice.
Right. I don't care. Well, the one I would like to take part in, I'm not a hallucinogenic guy, but there was a time in my life when I definitely did love psychedelics and stuff. But I had Rick Strassman on the show. I forgot I even had him on. I mean, I've done so many interviews now, but Rick Strassman, who was the leading researcher in DMT, I want to try DMT once before I die, just because of the way it's been described. I just want to and I know it's a short one, so I don't feel like, first, I don't think it's something I have to worry about ever wanting to do again once I do it, and that it's short and it's over with pretty quickly, but I definitely want to try that one.
It's funny that you bring this up because a friend of mine and I have been talking about trying DMT for a long, long time. And he just obtained some.
Well, that's my problem.
So he's got it.
You have a better chance of doing that. Because
well, but I know, but it makes me nervous now that he has it. I'm like, do I actually want to do it? Because, I mean, there are other factors, right? Like, I've been sober 10 years.
I know that.
Do I want to mess with... I don't want to mess with that in any meaningful way. Right. I don't really think that this is related to my addiction troubles.
No.
I'm an alcoholic. That was my thing. So I don't think DMT is gonna tug on those wires.
No, it's a different drug. Yeah, it's not even really a drug. It's kind of like a natural.
there's also like mental health stuff, right? Like there's been depression and anxiety in my life. So, I mean, how much do I want to be messing with the brain wiring?
And what if Reed comes out of his experience in DMT and he saw the angels or the goblins or whatever they are,
Yeah, the little
and then he
guys.
comes back and now you're a complete religious guy, and I have to come to North Dakota and kind of do an intervention.
Yeah, I
You,
know it's a little worrisome. Like
that's
like
that's my concern. I don't want to become a religious nut. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, the last episode I put out of the show was about my first time eating mushrooms,
I know. I read it a
and
couple of
that
days
went
ago.
poorly. So yeah,
My first time eating mushrooms went very poorly too, but it was because they were fresh picked. We were
fresh picked.
fresh picked, yeah.
That's amazing.
I was living in Florida in my high school years, but I was a runaway and I was living in a trailer by myself. And a bunch of kids would run out into the farms after it rained, the cow pastures, and pick the mushrooms directly out of the cow shit. But they didn't tell you that it had like large amounts of strychnine still in it, and you were supposed to boil the strychnine off. So we ate like probably 5 pounds each of fresh psilocybin mushrooms, and it was like a intense trip. But then the strychnine poisoning came after it,
Yeah, did
and
you just get like really sweaty?
sweaty, throwing up, stomach cramps. I
Right.
mean, you think you're gonna die, and you could die if you did enough of it. But fortunately, I didn't. But it was the worst experience ever. DMT is not like that though, and that's
Yeah, the 20 minutes is so perfect. It's like such a perfect amount of time for a drug to
yeah.
work.
That's basically when I did dabble. That was the point, an hour, 20 minutes to an hour, and then I'd be like, okay, and then no, you're just getting started. We
Yeah.
still have 2 days left.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, you're gonna feel like this for the next 8 hours. And it's gonna feel like weeks. So buckle up.
right. Now, the friend never did it. Also, the friend
He hasn't done it yet. No, he's waiting, but he's moving out of town in a few weeks. So we got to make that.
they say that you probably should do it with somebody who's done it before as a supervisor. Be
Yeah.
supervisor. Never do it alone, but if you can have somebody who knows the ropes, be
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I am definitely interested. And so Dr. Strassman is, it's weird because he is a man of science, yet he is very spiritual and religious. He's a Jew by upbringing and was very devout Jew, and then has this spiritual encounter on DMT, and now his beliefs are all over the place with this stuff. That's my one, because I've had so many experiences with different new age crazy. I don't want to get drawn into that stuff. I just want to see what they're talking about. What
I
are
can't really imagine you like in turquoise beads or anything. So I think you're gonna be okay.
yeah, but I don't even want to go down the part of, because I did mention I was sucked in by the likes of Tony Robbins in my youth.
Yeah.
I am susceptible to suggestion and belief as just as much as anybody else, and I think if I saw a circle full of whatever they are, demons, angels, goblins, whatever they are, talking to me and giving me advice on my like people who have done DMT report. I don't know. I might be susceptible to thinking that was some kind of religious experience. I don't know.
But okay, so let's say it was a religious experience, right? So does that mean that you have to like drop everything and devote yourself to that religious experience, or can
No.
you just know that exists and that is an underlying current to reality and just accept that and have it enrich your life?
I think the latter is part of it, but my biggest problem with this is if I go down there, I can no longer ridicule some of the
Yeah, it takes away some material, some comedic
Right.
material.
Yeah, and it's just like, come on, man, because at the root of all the religious stuff is magical thinking, and like,
Uh-huh.
I gave that up as a child. Like the idea in fairies and moon dust and what and
Right.
hocus pocus. But and this is the biggest part of it. Somebody the other day was saying, might have been Jordan Peterson, and it was like, man, encouraging adults to believe in magic. I think there's something inherently wrong about that in terms of the development of humanity, society, and where we're going as a people, to kind of encourage people, adults. And I think it probably wrong to do it to children too. Lying to children about what the nature of reality is probably really even worse. But encouraging adults to believe in hocus pocus and stuff, I think that we are slipping back into a dark ages. I'm sorry to be all bummerish about, but I do think Carl Sagan was right. We are willfully walking slowly back into the dark ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we walked up to some kind of edge, and a lot of people said, "No, no, thanks,"
Right.
and we start stepping back as fast as they could.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are, I think, kind of.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't know. This stuff just happens, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it like cyclical? It's gonna.
Maybe.
I mean, the only thing that feels different is that if the environment is actually going to collapse this time,
Well,
then there seems to be a bit of a timer on everything. But
right.
otherwise, it'll work itself out.
All right. I want to be respectful of your time and not keep you too long. But here's the thing: you are young enough that I believe you might live forever. I mean that.
Yeah,
I think the immortality drug or whatever, I think science is probably in your lifetime. Now, hopefully, you're not old, because you don't want to be 70 when they figure out, yeah, we got
Right.
a way to make you live forever. Well, kids told me that when I was 30, but as a parent of young children, how do you not like have overwhelming anxiety about the future for your children when you see the world in the state it is, or do you have a more optimistic view of the world than I do? Because I don't know how I could deal with knowing what I see in my vision of the future would not be what I would want for children.
Well, I try to think of it in terms of when I look at the world on a macro level, right? Like the entire world, it seems awful. Everything seems terrible.
Yeah.
But when I look at the world in front of me, like on a micro level, everything's amazing. Right? So am I gonna trust my imagination or my eyes in the moment? And it's gotta be my eyes, right? So despite what my mind is trying to tell me that everything is collapsing, everything's clearly not collapsing as directly as it feels like it is.
Right.
So I think it's gonna last longer than we think it's gonna last.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm worried all the time for them.
Yeah. I the whole people. I'm sure my parents had the same concern. Well, maybe not my parents because they didn't.
Yeah,
really
I don't think so. I don't think people started worrying about kids until about.
Well,
4
in my
years ago.
generation, and I was wrong to say my parents because they didn't give a fuck about anything. But other people's parents in my generation cared about their kids, and we had the Cold War where we had to get under our desks and practice atomic bomb drills in school. So there was that like concern about the future then, not the concern about where we're going morally or ethically and what we're. Because I do think, this whole, if there's any takeaway from this conversation at all, is that I do think we are becoming less empathetic as a people, and I think it's sad in such a profound way. I mean, the best parts of humanity have always come from witnessing empathy or taking part in it yourself and helping somebody else. That, to me, that's the greatest reward. And it sounds corny, it sounds campy and all that kind of stuff, but for me, it rings very true. It's been my experience in life. doing for others is always the best feeling I've ever had. And if we lose that, we lose humanity completely. That's my rant for today. Thank
There
you.
you go. That's good.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, are you getting back into the podcast? You expect to do anything soon? Or?
Yeah, I've got an episode on Moondog coming out soon.
That's funny because Robert Plant was talking about Moondog as we were talking about music, believe it or not, and he used to
No.
listen to the Alan Klein show when it was the Moondog rock and roll, Moondog dance party,
Right.
and then he said he remembers very clearly the night that Alan Klein came on and said, "We're changing the name of the show, boys and girls, to Rock and Roll Dance Party," because Moondog, I think you probably know this. Moondog was like a crazy Viking guy who used to stand out in front of the CBS building with signs and had groupies, and was threatening to sue the station for using his name. Moondog.
Right, but Moondog was a genius. I mean,
Right.
Moondog is one of the greatest composers of the 20th century.
Really?
I mean, secretly the man was incredible. I mean, I won't get into the whole thing, but I mean, he lived with Philip Glass for a while. Because Philip Glass was so influenced by his minimalist style of music.
Wow.
Like if you listen to the first two Moondog albums, they are so incredible.
I didn't know he had albums.
They're mind blowing.
Oh.
Mind blowing, and he invented his own instruments, like called the oud and the ula, and they're just like these percussive boxes, and he played them on Fifth Avenue or Sixth Avenue.
Yeah.
In front of that NBC building with his Viking thing on, but under his big Viking robe, he was composing music in Braille. Because he's blind.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was blind. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
crap.
an incredible life this guy had, and he eventually moved to Germany because he had a fan in Germany, and she moved him out there, and he recorded until he died, and he's got albums still coming out to this day.
And in a very direct way, he's responsible for the term rock and roll. I mean, not that he told Alan Freed what he had to change his name to, but if it wasn't for Moondog.
Right. Yeah, I know. There are a lot of weird stuff like that. Like he's married, not married. He's a descendant of like John Wesley Hardin. He's like Bob Dylan was a huge fan, huge acolyte. Like he would come visit him and stuff like that. And all the jazz guys liked him. He would sit out. He knew Bird. He would hang with Bird, and he would sit outside of jazz clubs and he would just play along to the jazz music with his instruments that he'd built. And eventually they heard him and he was good. So he was working on a project with Bird when Bird died.
Very cool stuff. Now, you said some descendants of John Wesley Harding. That understanding that why Dylan might have been a fan, knowing that kind of stuff. But when did John Wesley Harding ever get a chance to drop his seed? He was so busy killing people.
I don't know. I don't know.
I was thinking about that because last night I was thinking I want to track down Billy the Kid's real father, but how would you even do that? I mean, his mother was probably a prostitute in the lower parts of New York City, and maybe there is no record. But you know what? When you're born in a hospital in New York City, even in 1859, they had to ask who the father was. Somebody must have wrote it down somewhere. It's just a curious thing. But John Wesley Harding had kids. Very good. Very interesting. Cool stuff, man. I look forward to the Moondog stuff. Then I can't wait. Drop me a line when that's out. And
I will.
I will definitely promote it and let people. I'll listen to it myself. I'm really interested in that stuff.
Yes, yeah, and check out Moondog because really his music is it's so good. I mean, it's instrumental mostly.
I really didn't know much about him. The way Klein described it, it just seemed like the naked cowboy in New York City. The guy. Yeah, that's why just a homeless guy playing music on the street. And I was like, why are they so concerned that this guy might sue him? He can't get a lawyer.
No. Yeah, he would. No, he. A genius. Probably our finest composer.
All right. One last thing, and I'll let you go. We were talking about vinyl and comedy before. I didn't ask you, but the thought did come into my mind briefly. Lenny Bruce, you got any Lenny Bruce?
I don't have any Lenny Bruce on vinyl. No, I don't.
Here's the thing about Lenny Bruce, and it's interesting on your take on this. Every comedian who's worth anything will name Lenny Bruce as an influence.
Mhm.
Lenny Bruce wasn't on TV an awful lot, hardly ever, because he worked dirty. Now he might have had some albums out there that I'm not aware of, and that could be. But everybody, so nobody, unless you got to see him in a club in
Yeah.
the early 1960s, you couldn't know his act. What you find on YouTube is really boring shit. He's complaining about his legal cases. It's not real comedy. He's just complaining about getting arrested.
Yep.
So how can all these people who claim he's a genius? It's like the Jesus thing because mommy and daddy told me he walked on water. I have to believe that, and I'm going to name Lenny Bruce as my greatest influence in comedy, having no idea what he ever did,
Yeah.
but basing it on Dustin Hoffman's bad impersonation.
Yeah, I hate that movie.
Yeah.
I really do. It's not good.
So it's up to you to find those records and see if
Nothing. As far as I can tell, nothing he put to tape is representative of anything that I enjoy.
Yeah.
He's never meant much to me, honestly,
Right.
except as an idea. That's great that he was doing all that stuff, I guess. But yeah, no, I mean, Rodney is my guy way more than he is, and because that Rodney material, it makes me laugh.
Right.
I mean, more than anything, it's still so funny.
Well, and maybe I don't know if you know about this, but if you don't, I'll be happy. I'm glad to be the one to. Joe Ancis is the link between
Joe Ancis. Yes, that's the name.
The link between Bruce and Rodney, and basically they both said he was the funniest man, but he was afraid to be on stage. He had stage fright.
I think the rumor that I heard though was that Rodney was Joe Ancis.
No, Joe Ancis used to sit in the. There's a picture I have.
All right.
I actually sat next to Joe Ancis and didn't know it until
Are you serious?
Jackie Martling told me that. Did you ever go to see Rodney? Yeah, I went to see Rodney. He said Joe Ancis was the guy in the back of the theater who, when there was a lull, would say, "So what do you do for a living?" and just give Rodney something to kind of snap back like a fake heckler. And I was sitting next to him once at Westbury when he yelled that line out, and I didn't know that was Joe Ancis until 2 weeks ago when Jackie told me that, and then Jackie became that guy when Joe became too old. The guy who would go to Rodney's shows and
got it.
Wow, yeah.
No, that's amazing. Okay, yes, that is the name that I was.
So thanks for cluing me in onto
Joe
a Moondog. I think that's a very interesting story that I will have to definitely look into.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Up with you.
And anytime.
Yeah. Have a great day, and definitely keep in touch and let me know when this Moondog thing's happening because I want to listen to that one.
We'll do.
The problem with you, as you know, and before I say goodbye, is I can't tell when you're making shit up or it's the real story.
Okay. Do you want me to clue you in on the Moondog thing beforehand?
Footnote it like a little.
I mean, you should be able to figure out when the Moondog one goes off the rails because he moves to the forests of Germany.
Okay.
And builds himself a platform, 100-foot tall platform, and lives on top of it like a. Do you know who Simon Steinleitz was?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ascetic, like the ascetic monk, and he lives up there like that until the government assassinates him. So.
Excellent. Well, all right. Well, look forward to that. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Have a great day. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Reed Messerschmidt, folks, the Irrationally Exuberant podcast. Say that 10 times fast. And you know what? Don't just say it now. Wait until you're 64 years old and just say it 10 times fast. I don't know why old people have trouble with the lips as we get older. Anyway, I'm going to take a short break, grab some fresh coffee. I'll be back with you in a couple minutes to wrap stuff up. In the meantime, True Fire is the best place to go to learn a musical instrument, especially guitar. You can learn from all your favorite guitar players: Joe Satriani, Tommy Emmanuel, you name it. Any, just about any. You know what? I don't know if John Mayer is in the group. Greg Hotch's, but just about every great guitar player who ever picked up an axe is there to teach you directly, one-on-one, true fight.
Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFight. Our learning tools and massive library of video lessons will ignite your technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing chops. TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz, from Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists. You'll have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, fingerstyle, and acoustic guitar educators. Using our desktop and mobile apps, you'll work with TrueFire's multi-angle video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere. Integrated learning tools such as video synced tab and notation, slow-mo, looping, practice jam tracks, and many more handy controls accelerate your learning experience. TrueFire's style-specific learning paths guide you every step of the way. Use our assessment tools to find your starting point, then follow our lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan. Progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons, student forums, TrueFire's Riff magazine, premium jam tracks, and much, much more. With thousands of 5-star ratings and reviews from amateur and pro players alike, you'll find yourself in good company with the world's most comprehensive guitar learning platform. Grab your guitar and ignite your musicality. Sign up free for an all-access trial today.
Hey, yeah, mind dog, yeah, mind dog. If you ready for some action, this dog sure to keep you laughing. Let's go. Mind dog, yeah, mind dog. Don't roll, don't play fetch, only here to keep your interest. This is the show that you've been missing, full of comedians and musicians, plenty of interviews, entertaining, keep it funny, there ain't no debating. So authentic and straight raw, pushing the limits when they talk, doing it live when they stream. Mind dog TV, yeah, so crazy, getting intense. The dogs are wild, better beware before you hop over the fence. Mind dog, yeah, mind dog. If you ready for some action, this dog sure to keep you laughing. Let's go. Mind dog, hey, mind dog. Don't roll, don't play fetch, only here to keep your interest.
Coffee with a Dog is live streaming now.
Oh yeah, Reed Messerschmidt, folks. Yeah, I like Reed. He's a great guy. Interesting guy and very, very smart. Great writer. I check out the Irrationally Exuberant podcast. Link is in the description. I didn't put it in the scroll because I've been screwing up with that lately. As I mentioned, Keith Lowell Jensen will be here on Monday. Looking forward to that. Keith has a new special coming out. I'm going to preview it today. Why I got arrested or how I got arrested. Hold on. I'll plug it on Monday, but I'm looking forward to that conversation, and I suggest you should be here for that. Now, once again, I am, and if you can help with this, get on board, folks. Help find my posts on social media about looking for contributors. Right now, I'm more focused on getting the contributors on than an actual co-host. I am still interested in having a co-host. Been for a long time. It's one of the things I really feel like is important. But interested in getting more contributors, as many as possible. We have 8 on board right now. We're probably going to be starting stuff as early as possibly tomorrow, having some extra segments on. That will be cool. KLJ. You know what? The title isn't here, but I think it's Why I Got Arrested or How I Got Arrested. Hold on, let me see. I want to see really quickly if I can see. Um, but his last special, Not for Rehire, hysterical. Really, really, really good stuff. Let's see here. Keith Wildenson. Yeah. Come on. What I Was Arrested For is the name of it. So looking forward to that. Keith is Sacramento based. He's the funniest man in Sacramento, California, but our young friend David Ulfelder is on his heels and coming up strong. David is in New York as we speak. He's in Brooklyn, I believe, performing tonight. I don't know if he's got governors on his schedule. I believe he was trying to get governors on his schedule. I gave him the contact information. I have not followed up on that, but it might be at governors or in the Giggle Room. I'll have to check that out. But he's definitely in Brooklyn tonight. I think at the Union Hall, I believe is where he is, or Beer Palace. I will check that out for you. But just go to David Ulfelder Comedies, and the tour dates are on there. So he's in New York. Vinny is coming to New York. Vinny, who was on the program last month, and some of the other people who have been on the program recently will be in my area, and we'll be pushing that. Now, I have not heard back from Frank, who won the tickets to go see Doug Stanhope. I haven't heard anything about that. No feedback whatsoever. Got some radio silence on there. Just wondering how that all worked out. No, nobody. You would think somebody would be posting some of that on social media. At least, I went to the show type of stuff. Nothing. I don't want to talk about what's in the news today, or the pop culture stuff, because we're saving that for tomorrow, I think. So maybe it's time to sign off. What time do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? It's 10:21. That sounds close enough to a good time to start sign off. Just want to remind you that the app is available in your app stores for Mind Dog Radio. And we are doing well with that, but not as well as I would like to see. So if you could, leave us a review in the App Store. You don't even have to listen to the app. Just download it so they know you have it, and then you can write a review for us in the App Stores. It will help. It definitely will help. We'll be putting up some new original content today, and I'm thinking this Sunday night, we're going to start with a Twitch stream that is basically, or not basically, completely, a different kind of program, writing a song together, live stream, let's write a song. Temporary placeholder title for it. We haven't really figured out exactly what I want to call that yet, but we will. So that's the show for today, man. Thanks for coming. Who's the app info? You can go to minddogtv.com, and the links for Google Play. Well, let me see. Hold on. If you can, I'm going to give you a scan thing. Get your phones ready. Get your camera phone out. Get ready. If you're ready, are you ready? Are you ready? What the hell did I do with it? I'm not ready. Did I trash? Yeah, I did. I'm a dope. All right. So don't go ready. You know what? Before I go, I do have to tell you about Mood before I go. But you can go to minddogtv.com. Just go to minddogtv.com. Link to the Google Play or Apple App Store are right there. Or you can just go to the App Store and put in Mind or search for Mind Dog Radio. It'll come right up. I do have to tell you about Mood. You want to hear about Mood? Do you know about Mood? Are you in the mood to hear about Mood? Can we talk about Mood a little bit? Let me tell you about Mood. Is that too loud for the Mood? Let me tell you about Mood. Mood, yeah, it's 100% legal THC shipped directly to your door. Can believe it or not, no medical or ID card needed whatsoever. And generally, I've been using Mood, and great selection of quality product. And 2 days. 2 days is all it takes to get to from where it is to my door. And I don't have to even leave the house for it. Mood Company focuses on offering customers nothing but the highest quality products. Mood products are produced on small farms and sold at affordable prices, so you can afford to have the best Delta 8 flour, roll-ups, concentrate, edibles, and vapes, all delivered direct to your door. Never having to leave home. That's that simple, folks. Great product, great convenience. There you go. Here's what we have. Smokable flour, edible, vapes, pre-rolls, concentrates, and all the kind of weird little toys that you freaky little kids love. Hello Mood features Delta 8 THC products tailored to set your mood. What kind of mood you looking for, baby? They have a body soother mood, chill mood, creative mood, and if you see here, you can shop by the mood that it creates. So we have Blue Dream is creative mood, legendary Platinum OG says it's a euphoric mood, and you have Delta 9 THC Marshmallow Crisp Treats, which don't have a mood listed. Mood is versatile. I don't know what versatile means. You can be a top or a bottom, I guess. Atlanta Haze, mood is focused. All these kind of moods, you select by mood, which is a unique way of buying the product. So anyway, check it out. Mood, see all this cool looking, exciting. This is like weed porn. Welcome to the Weed Porn Show. I'm your host, Moondoggy Weed Face. I'm definitely interested in that Moondog character, by the way. Anyway, get your mood. The gummies look great too. And hash. When was the last time you smoked some good hash? Me? Long time ago. They have these fast-acting gummies now. You don't have to wait 2 hours to feel the buzz. Check it out. Mood. And here's what's going to happen. You use the coupon. Go to Mood, hellomood.co. That's hellomood.co. Can we put that in the description there? hellomood.co. And use the code MINDDOG when you check out. If you buy over $100 worth on your first purchase, you're going to get $40 back. So it's only going to cost you $61 technically to buy $101 worth of merchandise. And just go to $101 worth pretty quickly if you're buying any significant product. But you can order as little as 1 gram for, I think, $8.50 or something like that. Check it out. Hello Mood. It's what the Mind Dog does, and that's what you should do too. Yeah, baby. Anyway, that's the show for today. Well, it's not much of a show, I know. Well, Reed was good. I know I sucked, but Reed was good, right? He was entertaining. You're gonna check out Irrationally Exuberant podcast. Check it out, because he is tricky in his writing. He did a thing on Black and White Night, Bruce Springsteen special, and I was there for the taping of that in 1983, I think it was. I was there for the taping of that program, and I didn't know when he was being fictional or being, right on the money with what he was, a true historical accounting of the night. Just interesting stuff for you. So check that out. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me this morning. Have a great rest of the day. I'll see you. Bye for now. Good shit. HelloMood.co. Use the code MINDDOG. HelloMood.co. Use the code MINDDOG when checking out.
listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen